welcome to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dovston, and it is wonderful to have you here with me for our weekly overview for the week commencing the 22nd of May 2023. Last week, wow, we had hexagram 59 dispersing all those changing lines, lots of things that we're releasing and unlocking. Okay, we had to focus on the work, and we had this great important project in front of us, putting the work first despite the obstacles. And hexagram 52, keeping still, getting to a place of peace and serenity and focus, and perhaps finding some quiet time this week to meditate, to contemplate, to think, to be still, so that when the time is right to act, we move forward with the right energy. Okay, so for you, what was the thing that dispersed through your week, that unraveled and unlocked, okay, and released? I had quite a few obstacles in the week that just came right because I put the work first and I put in the hours, and they opened up a whole lot of issues that were sitting there and that were difficult to deal with. So I affirm for you that something released for you this week, something that was frozen and locked up, that was challenging, suddenly maybe just cracked off a little bit and gave you a little bit of purchase just to unrelease that valve and to release what was stuck before. Okay, so let's get into this week. What is the I Ching asking us to pay attention to? And we have a locked hexagram. We seem to be having these more and more. Our locked hexagram for this week is hexagram 13, fellowship. Okay, this hexagram, I've spoken about this hexagram in lots of different ways, and I try and unpack for you each of these hexagrams, whenever they come up, maybe a different perspective or different framings, that we can really build out a nice, robust understanding of what these symbols of change mean. Fellowship is all about rallying together with others, harmonizing together with others, working productively with others to achieve something meaningful. Okay? And that there's a rallying cause. There is something that binds and unites us all together as we embark upon this fellowship. The obvious example we can think about is in Lord of the Rings. I've spoken about this many times before. The Fellowship of the Ring. Okay, a whole lot of raggle-taggle creatures working together to help Frodo destroy the ring. Okay, and a lot of misadventures as he goes upon this journey. And of course, it is the fellowship that achieves that outcome, not Frodo alone. Okay, so we think about what might be the community, okay, we are part of. That might be your church group, okay, it might be a spiritual gathering, it might be friends, it might be your hobby network, it might be in a work context, an alliance, okay, it is a collaboration with other people. So a collab where you're working with others or other businesses to work on projects that is so well connected to this hexagram, okay? We can all be different shapes and sizes and races, an elf and a dwarf and a human, all working together, hobbits, to achieve this meaningful purpose, okay? This hectic, life-affirming process of destroying this ring. And so what might be the fellowship you are part of? What do you volunteer your time to, okay? What would you like to volunteer your time to if this is not related to your business or your work? And where might in this week some understanding of fellowship come to you? Remember, this is not necessarily about this amazing fellowship of dwarves and elves and hobbits coming together, okay, to destroy the ring, okay? It might not be that grandiose. What might come to you is an insight about what true fellowship means. And that might be sometimes the failure of a fellowship. Okay, so I just recommend that you keep your minds and your heart open to the week. Okay, open to what is the insight about fellowship and my ability to contribute to that fellowship, your ability to contribute. What comes up? What's online? Okay, so you might realize this is what fellowship means in this situation. But that means I see in this situation where fellowship is not based on shared interests, on shared value, on shared harmony. Okay, harmonizing and working with others is about reaching out to bring the harmony to the fellowship. And it might mean realizing where there isn't essential shared value. Okay, and then what does that mean? Either which way, it puts into our hands a wonderful tool, a wonderful way of thinking that our task this week is to harmonize. Okay, so you might find in a fellowship or in a grouping of people, there's discord. And our task when we see that disharmony is to rush in and create harmony. Not to save other people from themselves, okay? We're not going on a rescue mission. What we are doing is we are seeing the group that essentially shares the same goal, and we are working to reestablish harmony, okay? That, in a way, is our moral imperative. When we are part of a fellowship, if there is disharmony, if there's discord, we need to rush in and resolve the disharmony, okay? And if we are wise enough to see the disharmony and understand where it comes from and what the solution might be, we have a moral obligation to stand up and participate, okay? Do what we can to create that harmony. In a work situation, this is so relevant when we work in teams and we collaborate with other people. Perhaps you collaborate with suppliers or a supply chain. It's that kind of idea of getting everyone on board, on side, resolving where there's disharmony, lack of communication, and get everyone anchored around the thing that really binds everyone together. And if there isn't something that binds everyone together, what do you do with that? Okay, so keep yourself open to the insights of fellowship. And we can take responsibility of being an amazing fellow in the fellowship, okay? That's the part that we can do really well, is to participate in a masterly fashion and to create that harmony when disharmony appears. Well, the locked hexagram. Not much we can say other than that. Looking forward to seeing how disharmony turns into harmony and how your fellowship bears beautiful fruits for everybody in that fellowship. If this was valuable to you, really would appreciate a like or share if you'd like to share it with somebody else. And of course, if you are new to the channel or to the podcast, please subscribe or follow. It'd be great to have you in our community. And of course, I'll see you soon in our next weekly overview. So I'll see you soon.